Welcome to our therapy program. This video is intended to set the scene for understanding your chronic fatigue and learning about how we will work with you. There is a more in-depth booklet that accompanies this video called The Physiology of Chronic Fatigue that expands on much of the information that will be shared with you today. As there is a lot of information in this video, you might find it helpful to pause it occasionally or to watch it in more than one sitting. Receiving a diagnosis of ME/CFS or multifactorial fatigue can be frightening and confusing. You may have lots of questions about why you have it or whether you can recover. The emerging hypothesis of dysregulation proposes an explanation of how our body's protective systems can become out of kilter and start to cause symptoms. Let's start by considering what is happening all the time in our body, the ongoing process of homeostasis. Homeostasis can be defined as the process by which our body is kept working in a balanced way. It involves various body systems which are continuously working together to address demands and threats faced by the body to help restore optimal functioning of the body. Homeostasis involves the regulation of dynamic systems within the body, both at a body-wide and at a cellular level. Dynamic simply means that the systems are always adjusting and regulating in response to each other. They do not remain in a fixed and changing state. Here are some more definitions to help you understand homeostasis. The main three body systems involved in homeostasis are the autonomic nervous system, of which there are two branches, the sympathetic branch, also known as the fight or flight system, and the parasympathetic branch, which is known as the rest and digest system. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, also known as the HPA axis, and the immune system. Homeostasis is also a function at the cellular level of the body, where the processes of metabolism take place. As mentioned previously, these three body systems are all dynamic, meaning their responses can be upgraded or downgraded or in a state of flux, depending on demands and threats. When we talk about demands, we mean the everyday demands our body has for food, hydration, oxygen, etc. Homeostasis responds to demands in numerous ways, including temperature regulation, signalling when we are hungry or thirsty, or instigating an increase in our heart rate to climb a flight of stairs. When we talk about threats in the context of chronic fatigue conditions, we mean things like a viral illness, injury, stress, or trauma. So let's look at homeostasis at the body-wide level in more detail. Homeostasis deals with threat in much the same way as it does with bodily demands, by activating the body systems we have already mentioned. However, threat usually results in a more extreme response from these systems, and so we may be more aware of it. For example, the immune system creates fever in order to fight infection, and the autonomic nervous system makes our heart race and gives us a feeling of butterflies if we are in a nerve-wracking or dangerous situation. Hormones also alter to respond to the threat, but this is a slower reaction to prolonged threat. When the autonomic nervous system is not dealing with threat, balance is maintained or restored by activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, to calm responses down. Balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches of the autonomic nervous system is helpful. If threats persist or are prolonged, there is less opportunity for the restoration of balance by the parasympathetic nervous system. Now let's think about homeostasis at the cellular level. Metabolism is the process by which the body converts fuel into energy and makes building blocks such as proteins. Metabolism can be either anabolic, i.e., building up reactions, or catabolic, breaking down processes. Numerous metabolic processes occur at the cellular level, and they too are involved in homeostasis through regulation and adaptation. Mitochondria are found in virtually all body cells. They can be thought of as the powerhouses of the cell as they produce chemical energy. A key metabolic process is the production by the mitochondria of the chemical adenosine triphosphate, also known as ATP, and is often referred to as the chemical currency of energy. So ATP, our energy currency, can be produced in two ways. The first of these is called aerobic production, which uses oxygen. Aerobic ATP production involves oxygen and fuel, i.e. glucose or fat. It is the most efficient way of producing ATP. It produces the maximal level of ATP with the lowest level of energy demand to do so. The second way in which energy can be produced is anaerobically. When energy demands outstrip ATP production, more ATP is created through anaerobic metabolism. This is less efficient and has a waste product of lactic acid, which can build up in muscles, causing pain. In order to break lactic acid down, more energy from ATP is required, making anaerobic metabolism less efficient. The point at which ATP production switches from aerobic to anaerobic is known as the anaerobic threshold. If there are too many demands on aerobic production, or if it is reduced for some reason, more energy will have to be produced via anaerobic metabolism, resulting in lactic acid being produced at a higher rate, experienced as muscle aches. It is hypothesized that people with chronic fatigue may reach their anaerobic threshold much more quickly, resorting to the inefficient production of energy with associated side effects of aches and pain. We will now move on to talk about dysregulation. When threat is persistent, such as lingering infections, trauma or stress, etc., the body systems of homeostasis that fight against threat becomes more highly sensitized. Persistent threat means that the threat response becomes constant, obstructing the systems that restore balance. This leads to dysregulation, where the body systems become disordered as they react in an increasingly sensitized way. Symptoms emerge in body systems such as the autonomic nervous system, neuroendocrine system, or HPA axis, and the immune system, as well as resulting from changes at the cellular level. This slide gives you an idea of the different symptoms that are associated with each of the body systems involved in homeostasis and dysregulation. There are more symptoms than are shown here, but it gives an idea of the breadth of symptoms associated with chronic fatigue. HPA-axis-related symptoms may include body temperature changes and disrupted sleep cycle. Autonomic nervous system symptoms may include fatigue and orthostatic intolerance. Orthostatic intolerance is a difficulty in managing to be in an upright position, whether that is standing or sitting. It can be accompanied by feeling dizzy, faint, or as though the heart is racing. Immune system symptoms may include malaise and pain. Here we can see some of the symptoms associated with dysregulation at the cellular level. Muscle pain, increased reliance on anaerobic pathways, buildup of lactic acid in muscles, medication sensitivities, the way in which our body processes drugs may be affected by disrupted enzyme pathways, post-exertional malaise, changes in anaerobic threshold resultant in worsening of exercise intolerance of delayed onset. To summarise what we have discussed regarding dysregulation, dysregulation can occur in specific body systems and more generally at the cellular level. Dysregulation results in a wide range of symptoms with many contributing factors. Having talked about dysregulation, it is important to recognise that no two people with chronic fatigue have exactly the same presentation. This is because we all have individual factors as human beings based on our lives, experiences, and medical history. Some of these predispose us to illness. They are background factors that may make it more likely that we will develop an illness. Others are precipitating factors that may act as a trigger for an illness or condition to develop. A third group may be perpetuating factors that make it more difficult for us to get better once we have a condition such as chronic fatigue. Let's look at some examples. Here you can see examples of some of the predisposing, precipitating, and perpetuating factors. As you will notice, some things can be a factor in all three. Predisposing factors. Examples may include persistent stress, genetics, hormonal dysregulation, lifestyle or social factors, prolonged high achievement, and high standards. Precipitating factors. For example, a viral episode, trauma, stressful event, prolonged stress, surgery, and a serious injury. Perpetuating factors, such as overexertion, isolation, boom and bust, stress, poor sleep, low mood, high anxiety, and sensitization, causing pain and fatigue. I now want to talk to you about the biopsychosocial model. What this means is that we consider the biological nature of your symptoms resulting from biological dysregulation, which we have already discussed at length in this video. We also consider how these symptoms affect you psychologically, as they limit what you can do and can have an effect on your mood. Your symptoms may also have had an impact on your social participation, making it harder for you to share activities with family or meet friends. We use this biopsychosocial model because by considering these factors, we can ensure that we help you to understand the biological dysregulation that causes symptoms and make sure that if you need support for any psychological issues, that we can signpost you for this. You can also work with you to try to improve your ability to participate in life socially with family and friends. In conclusion, we have looked at homeostasis and how it tries to restore balance in response to demands and threats that the body faces. We have looked at how the autonomic nervous system, neuroendocrine system, or the HPA axis, and the immune system are the three main homeostatic body systems that respond to threat. We discussed how dysregulation can arise when body systems and cellular mechanisms become sensitized to threat. We considered some of the symptoms that can arise from dysregulation. We looked at how individual factors also play a role, as we are all different and unique. We introduced the biopsychosocial approach, which ensures that you are considered holistically, biologically, psychologically, and socially. We hope that you have found this video informative. Thank you for watching.